Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Startup Sessions. My name is Colette Broomhead and I am a startup strategist. And I'm going to hang around for a couple of minutes before I get started properly, just to see if anyone wants to join us live. So I'm going to take a swig of my water and then take a moment or two to just share this over to... Hey Wendy, nice to see you. Just to share this over to my group. I think I need to do it on my phone. Let me do it on my phone. Okay, so hopefully that's shared. Lovely to see you, Wendy. So I am going to hang around just for a minute longer and just see if anyone else joins us. Outside here in Nottingham, it is currently absolutely pouring down with rain. Wendy, you'll know that. Anyone else watching the replay, I'm sure will be delighted to hear that. If you are watching from somewhere else in the world, let me know where and let me know what the weather's like. Is it nicer than here? It can't be much worse because it really is most unpleasant. Last night we had gale force winds. My poor smallest little boy, Seth, hasn't been very well. He was sick in the night, so we had the wind and a poorly boy. So all in all, it's been a traumatic 24 hours or so. But hopefully this evening things will settle down. Seth's gone to bed. Seems to be okay. I'm going to do this and then I'm going to pour myself a G&T, I think, because I rather think I've earned it today. So, okay. Right, let's make a start. So today's episode is all about strategies that you can use as a beginner blogger, or in fact a more experienced blogger, but I've specifically kind of called out beginner bloggers because these are strategies that don't need budget, they don't need existing followers. You can just get started with them literally on day one of your blogging career. So that's why they're so great. I mean, let's just talk a minute for a second about how it feels when you do first start blogging. You know, you're full of excitement, you're full of passion, you've got this new baby that you're putting out into the world. You've got, you know, so much to say. You've got these kind of hopes and dreams of all these people coming to visit your blog and hear what you have to say, of creating this community, of, you know, perhaps making it big and making a load of money. And you press publish and crickets and there's nothing, and the next day there's nothing, you know, maybe 1 or 2 views, and so it goes on, and it's incredibly frustrating. And so what happens is you kind of think, okay, I just need to create more content, I need to keep going, I need to keep plowing onwards. So you basically start doing all the work and all the hours, pumping out blog posts. You consume all the content you can find on how you can improve your posts, how you can grow your traffic. You spend all your time on social media. You're basically working so hard, and so often it's for very, very little return, and it's incredibly frustrating. And of course, it's why so many people don't stay the course and eventually give up, because, you know, who wants to spend their lives like that? It's very unrewarding. So sorry, I'm fiddling about because I've lost my notes. I keep there we go. It wouldn't be a Facebook Live with me without some kind of tech issue. Come on, Hopefully, you've probably, I imagine you've grown to expect it by now. Okay, there we go. There we go. I have notes. I have Facebook Live. So that's why I'm talking about this today, because I know that frustration. And what I also know is that there are certain strategies that you can dive into straight away, that you can start using straight away, and will start to give you results straight away. And so it's those types of strategies that I want to talk about this evening. So before I dive into that, and I feel like I'm being a bit of a tease, I want to talk about one strategy that I see being used all the time and that I really want to encourage you against. This is not a good strategy. First of all, let's talk about traffic itself, because as I said, it can be very easy. You become obsessed with those statistics. You become obsessed with checking your views, checking your visits, and nothing else matters. But actually something does matter, and that is the quality of traffic that you are trying to attract, because not all traffic was made equal. The type of traffic that you are trying to attract are your ideal clients, because that's the type of traffic that's going to engage with your content, that's going to enjoy your content, they're going to share your content, like your content, comment on your content, and ultimately those are the people who are going to buy from you. So when you're looking to drive traffic to your blog, always have that in mind, that it's those ideal clients who you want to attract, and not just anyone. And that brings me back to this tactic that I really want you to avoid, and it's everywhere, it's rife. So it's difficult to avoid, and it's also very tempting to join in with, because you do see quick results. You do see your numbers suddenly go up. But what you don't see is those numbers going up with ideal clients. And the tactic that I'm talking about is like for like. It's everywhere. You will have seen it, I'm sure. It's in Facebook groups. It's on LinkedIn. It's everywhere. And that is these threads where people have basically say, you know, I'll like yours if you like mine. Many times they don't even tell you anything about their blog, their business. It is literally a case of, I like you, I'll like yours if you like mine. And like I say, that sees quick results in terms of those vanity metrics, but what it doesn't do is give you any kind of quality when it comes to that audience. And essentially, an audience filled with people who are not your ideal clients is actually going to do you more harm than good, because it's going to drive your engagement down. So if you think about it, if you have an audience of 100 people who are all your ideal clients, that 100 people are all going to be engaged. They're all going to be getting involved. They're going to be clicking. They're going to be sharing. They're going to be liking, commenting, and so on. And so your rate of engagement is going to be very high. Now, when it comes to most social media channels, it's engagement rates which determine that's built into the algorithm of Facebook and the other social media channels as well. The engagement rates will determine how many people see your content. If you have a high rate of engagement, Facebook, for example, can tell or translates that as, you know, this is good engaging content. This is stuff that people want to see and that they're interacting with. And so we're going to show it to more people. If you have a low rate of engagement, then they see it as the opposite. They're saying, no one's looking at this, no one's interacting with it, we're not going to bother showing it to more people. And so go back to your audience again. So if you've got that 100 strong audience full of engaged people who are all getting involved, there's a good chance that a high proportion of those people are going to see your content, because Facebook can see that they're engaged and they're enjoying it, and they're going to show your content to more people. If you have an audience of 1,000 people who are not your ideal clients, and so your Facebook page or wherever is a graveyard and no one's liking, no one's commenting, no one's doing anything, then that great content that you're creating is going to go unseen. And that's because although you've got this massive audience, it's full of people who don't care. They're not bothered about your content. They simply liked because you liked theirs. So I hope I have driven my point home. This is something I feel really strongly about. There are, of course, I'm not saying you should never get involved in any kind of share threads, because some of them are great. And if you know that a share thread is full of people who are your ideal clients, then get stuck in. But just be really, really cautious around the whole like for like thing, because that's where the danger lies. So always have in the back of your mind, when you're doing anything to drive traffic, to drive likes or anything like that, am I driving the right kind of audience? Am I driving people who are actually interested in what I've got to say and who are ultimately going to ever buy from me? Because if the answer is no, then don't bother. It's just not worth it. Okay, this is something you may be able to tell I feel passionately about, so I tend to rant on a bit. Let me just have a swig of water. Let me know if there's any questions, whether you're watching live or in the replay. Pop your questions in and I will always answer them. So now we've talked about what not to do, the whole like for like. Let's talk about something that you really should do before we even dive into the 5 strategies. And that's, as I said in my post on this subject that was published on Monday, and if you haven't read it, go check it out, because it goes into this in a whole lot of detail. As I said then, it's all about getting your house in order. So we've said it's important to target your ideal clients. Apologies, by the way, I'm slightly bunged up, so if I'm sounding a bit weird and a bit sort of nasal, that's why. We've talked about the importance of targeting your ideal clients. So first of all, you need to know who your ideal clients are. And in order to know who your ideal clients are, you need to know what your niche is. You need to know what your topic is, essentially. And this is something which comes up an awful lot, especially with people who are just getting started with their blogs, because there is a huge temptation to try and go as broad as possible. Perhaps you've got loads of interests that you want to write about. Perhaps you feel like if the more you write about, the more different subjects you write about, the more people you will attract to your blog. So I want to say now, loud and clear, that is not the case. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The more specific the subject that you're talking about, the easier it is to attract people to your blog. Yes, you're going to be putting some people off, but that's fine. What you're also going to be doing is really calling out much more strongly to your ideal clients, because you're saying, this is what my blog is about specifically. And so when you think about it yourself, when you're looking for content, you're always going to be more drawn to someone that specializes in whatever it is you're looking for than a generalist who kind of covers that among many other things. So think about it from your customer's perspective and really try and resist the urge to go as broad as possible. What you'll find is as you grow your audience and as you grow your online reputation and your credibility, at that point you can start to broaden out because you already have that visibility there. And so people are already coming, they're already visiting. And so you'll find that then you can start to broaden out. And you'll find, if you find yourself comparing yourself to other kind of bloggers and business owners who are much more established, you may find yourself kind of thinking, well, you know, their topic's really broad, why can't I do mine? And that's the reason. If you chances are they will have started out doing something much more specific, and they will have got broader as they've gone along, because that's just how it works. So when you're starting out, get as specific as possible, get really clear on what your niche is and make it as specific as possible. Get really clear on who your ideal clients are, and again, make that as specific as possible. Really think about who they are, you know, what's going to draw them to your blog. You know, what are their hopes? What are their fears? What are their challenges? What are their interests? What is it about them that makes them your ideal client? And there'll be some kind of common thread that links them all together, and that's what makes them your ideal clients. And then the third thing to get really clear on is the purpose of your blog or business. And that's, you know, what's in it for them if they do come and visit. So you've got your topic, you know who you want to attract. Now it's kind of answering that question as to why should they bother? Why should they come and visit? What is your blog? What is reading your content going to achieve for them? What change is it going to bring about? So if you can get really clear on those 3 things, then you are then in the perfect position to get started with these 5 strategies that we can now dive into. Hurrah! So let's start with number one. So the first strategy that I'm going to talk to you about is guest posting. Weirdly, this strategy isn't one I'm including for the obvious reason. The obvious reason being that if you do a guest post on someone else's blog or website, and people will click from that website to visit your website, and so you'll get traffic coming from that guest post. And yes, that will be the case, but actually, unless you're guest posting on a huge website, chances are you're not going to get a massive amount of traffic that way. You'll get the odd click, but nothing game-changing, nothing world-shattering. The reason I'm including this tactic is actually more from an SEO perspective, that's search engine optimization. Because one of the key strategies for increasing your ranking in search is to create what's called backlinks, and that's essentially links from other credible websites back to yours, and that's what guest posting achieves for you. And it builds, so by doing guest posts with credible websites, you're building your backlinks, and so you're therefore building your domain authority, and in turn improving your search rankings, and so that's going to drive more traffic through search. So that's why I've included guest posting. It's a difficult one because it's not the easiest thing. It can be quite hard work. You've got to prepare yourself to get a lot of no's and get a lot of rejection, but it's worth it. If you can start building up a bit of a repertoire, a few guest posts here and there, aim for credible websites, aim for websites in your niche, because don't forget you're wanting to attract your ideal clients, and so the website needs to be in a niche that's appropriate, that's relevant, and just get yourself out there. Start looking for sites that you think would be a good fit, checking if they accept guest posts, and pitching to them. And when you pitch, make sure you're making it personal to them. Look at who their audience are, look at the types of posts that they already have, look at their guidelines, very importantly, and what they actually are asking you for, and make sure that you are fitting into that, because if you're not, they tend to be very ruthless when they're weeding people out, and they will weed you out and you'll get a no. So if you want to get in front of the right people, if you want to get a chance at a yes, make sure that you are checking all those things, you're doing your due diligence. And when you're writing your pitch, avoid the temptation of just making it all about you and how great I am, and this is why you should choose my post. Instead, turn it around and make it about what you're going to do for their audience, what's in it for them. What can you write? How can you make their audience, help their audience, make their audience lives better? Because that's what's going to attract them to you. So that's guest posting. My second strategy is Facebook groups. And Facebook groups is a fantastic strategy, and perhaps one of the simplest ones, because it's just a case of it's a really direct way of getting in and actually meeting and chatting to your ideal clients, and letting them know that you exist. And actually, when you first have started and no one knows you exist, this is a really powerful tool. So the idea is, and you'll have seen this, I'm sure, is to join Facebook groups where your ideal clients are hanging out, and be helpful. Basically, don't be spammy. So the thing with Facebook groups is that there's a right way of doing this that can be really, really impactful, and then there's a wrong way of doing it, which can be equally impactful, but in a negative way. There is no quicker way to ruin your reputation and to come across as spammy and sleazy than kind of going into a Facebook group and not checking the rules, dropping links everywhere, spamming with your content. Please don't do that. You know yourself, when you've been in groups like that, when other people have done it, how annoying it is. So don't be that person. You are better than that. Instead, go in with the wish to help people, to actually find your ideal clients, and to build relationships, to get to know some people, to help them to get to know you, and to be of value. And if you're showing up consistently in a couple of Facebook groups every day, and you're answering questions, and you're helping people, then you will start to be known, and you'll start to become a go-to person. People will start to tag you in questions, and you'll start to sort of grow that credibility and that online visibility. And of course, where it's where it's possible, you know, where the rules allow, you do also get the opportunity to promote your stuff, and to perhaps answer questions using links to your blog posts. That's something that I do a lot, and you know, it proves very helpful for me, and it's definitely a good thing if you can do that too. But always just make sure that it is relevant and that you're not just dropping, you know, completely random links, because that's just going to annoy people. So that's Facebook groups. Sorry. Oh dear. Another swig of water. So my third strategy is roundup posts. And if you're not sure what those are, basically they're posts which kind of round up other people's content on a certain topic. So for example, on my food blog, I once did a roundup post of like the tastiest barbecue recipes, and I listed 50 barbecue recipes that I found on other people's blogs. You could do you know, my top 20 favorite inspirational quotes. You could do my favorite tools for productivity. You could do whatever it is, but the idea is that you're basically collating other people's work and putting it all in one post, essentially. And the reason that this helps with boosting your traffic is because you then contact the people whose content you're using and let them know. And because they're going to be very happy that you're sharing their stuff and that you're linking back to whatever it is there that you're referring to, whether it be a blog post or a tool or whatever it is, that they are going to want to promote your post, because they're going to want to say, hey, look, my stuff's being promoted by someone else. And so they are going to promote your post too. And so your post is going to get in front of new audiences. And if you're actually sharing content of like influencers in your niche, and people with bigger audiences than you, and let's face it, when you're just starting out, that isn't difficult, you're going to be reaching more people, more and more and bigger audiences. So this is a great thing to do. Again, you know, there's a bit of work involved, but it's so worth it. And frankly, if you're not up for the work, then blogging probably isn't for you. So think about what might work in your own niche. What kind of roundup post would work and would be good for you? And then it's just a case of going out and finding that content and contacting the people who've created it, letting them know, saying, you know, I'm creating this post. I'd love to include your whatever it is. Is that okay? And then once it's published, letting them know again, you know, just published it. Here's a link in case you want to share it with your audience. And it's as simple as that. And chances are some people might not, you know, some people, it might go over their heads. That's fine. But there will be some people who will share it, and you will get more views, and it will give you exposure to new audiences. So roundup posts can be a really great tool and something that you can do from day one. My fourth strategy is live streaming, and this is something I'm sure that you will have heard an awful lot of talk about over the last year or so, because live streaming is a huge kind of trend in marketing at the moment. And the reason for that is that video and live video especially is getting huge organic reach. And by organic reach, I mean unpaid reach. So you're not having to pay to advertise it. It's just getting out and reaching people organically. So live streaming, Facebook lives, doing Instagram lives, or going live from YouTube, whatever it may be, is a really, really great way to reach more people, because Facebook, Instagram, whoever it may be, is going to show that content to more people than they would just a standard post. So if you're brave enough, and I do encourage you to be brave enough, go and give it a try and see the difference it makes to your engagement and to your reach. So perhaps you wanted to, you know, if you've just published a blog post, do a Facebook Live on your page and just say, hey guys, just wanted to let you know, I've just published my newest blog post. It's all about this. Why don't you go and check it out? I've left a link in the comments. And see if it works. And I promise you it will. Because, yeah, like I say, video and live video especially is getting a ton more reach than standard posts. So get out there and give it a go. And my final strategy for getting more blog traffic when you are just starting out is reciprocity. And by that, what I mean is kind of like online karma. And it's kind of, instead of being so focused on getting your own stuff out there and your own numbers, actually starting to look at how you can help others, starting to look at what other content you can share, meet other people in your niche, or in appropriate sort of relevant niches or connected niches, and look at what content that they're creating that you think your audience might enjoy and share it with them. Everyone wins. Your audience gets to see valuable content that you know they're going to love. The person whose content you're promoting is, of course, going to love you because you're promoting their content and getting it in front of a new audience for them. And in turn, like I say, that builds this kind of online karma for you. You build a relationship with someone. Chances are maybe they'll share some of your content in return, or maybe they'll come and check out your page. Maybe they'll go, oh, who is this person that's just shared my content, and end up liking your page. Chances are there's going to be some kind of back and forth, and there's going to be some kind of reciprocal benefit. So look at how you can go and support other people and get out there and share their content, and in return see what happens and see what you get back, because I'm sure you will get something back. And that's it. Those are my 5 strategies. So just a quick sum up. We've got guest posting, Facebook groups, roundup posts, live streaming, and reciprocity. And as I mentioned, these are all in my latest blog post. See what I'm doing there? Which you can find over on www.colettebroomhead.com. I'll leave a link in the comments. And you can go and check them all out in more detail. So as I said before, if you do have any questions, whether you're watching now or in the replay, let me know, and I will always come back and answer them. It's also worth knowing that I have strategy sessions that you can book for $24.99. That's pounds, which I think works out around $34. Where you can come and chat to me one-to-one. So if you want to chat to me and work out some strategies that are personal to you and your blog and business that are going to help you to improve your traffic, then just let me know, and I'll pop you over a link so that you can get one booked. And that's everything from me. I hope you found this helpful. And next week, we're going to be going into more detail on guest posting. So watch out for that. Have a great evening. Have a great rest of your day, wherever you are. And I will see you next week. Bye.